Hello friends and welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette with Vivo Vintage Designs. In today's tutorial, I am going to show you just how easy it is to draw this flower. Even if you can't draw, if you can only draw an oval, you'll be able to do this. So we're going to need two fine liners, one with a broad tip, one with a narrow tip, a piece of paper, a pencil, and an eraser. And I'm using a kneadable eraser. And I'm just using regular copy paper, but you can do this on watercolor paper and then go back and paint your flower if you like. So we're going to start with an oval, and I'm facing it in the direction I want my flower to face. So from here on in, we will call that the center of our flower. And then we're just going to draw some ovals. And they're all coming from that center. So you can see I'm going to create some going from the sides, and then from the bottom of the center I'm going to create some small ovals that face upward, and then I'm just going to fill in the area with more and more ovals until I'm satisfied. Some will be facing up and some will be facing down. And once I'm satisfied with the amount that I have on there, you have to be careful with this next step. I am going to take the fine liner with the broad tip and I'm going to start outlining these, but you have to be careful that you don't overlap your petals like I did right there. So that's the tricky part. But once you do this a few times, you'll get it. And I like to skip around. And now you'll see that as I begin to trace these ovals that I've created, and not all of them have to be traced, select the ones that you like. But as I go along tracing it, I'm going to add some scallops to the edge of each of these petals. So you can see I'm just wiggling my fine liner and creating a little bit of ripple towards the tips of the petals. And I find that it's nice if you skip around because then all your petals aren't laying over each other, and it just looks more natural. And once you get this down, you can add more detail to your petals. You can add folds, you can add curves. There's a multitude of things that you can do, but it's important to get this down first. And to me, this flower looks like a peony, so that's what I'm going to call it. And once you're done tracing it, if you see you need a petal here or there, you can add that later on. But you can see some of my petals are facing up and down and to the side. And I'm skipping around as I trace them, making sure that they don't look too uniform. So there we go. We have our flower. Now I'm going to take the kneadable eraser and I'm going to erase my pencil lines and shake the camera a little bit. And once you've erased your lines, you can either draw your stem or start shading your flower. So I like to start by using the fine liner. Oh, I decided to add another petal there. And like I said, you can see that you can add petals wherever you think you may need one as you go along. And to draw my stem, I like to draw a curved stem. I think it makes it more interesting than a straight stem. But I use the broad tip marker or fine liner for that. So now this marker that I'm using is a 0.2. This has a finer nib. And I'm going to start creating these little lines wherever I did those scallops and the scallop goes in, I'm going to flick my marker and create a short little line to kind of make it look like a fold in the petal. And make sure that as you're adding these lines that you keep them going in the direction you want to indicate the petal is growing. So you can see they're all of my lines are facing the center of the flower. So that's a good rule of thumb. Keep them going towards the center of the flower. And again, once you get this down, you'll be able to add so much more detail, like folds and adding lines and shading to indicate the direction of the petal. And you can have a lot of fun with this. It's just a very quick and easy way to draw a beautiful flower, especially for those of us who feel like we can't draw. You can absolutely do this. And notice that it's important to flick the marker and not just draw the line. You can see I'm flicking it because what happens when you flick the marker, the end of the line is tapered. If you just draw the line without flicking the marker, the end of your line will be stubby. It'll just be a flat line. It looks better when it is narrowed. So now that I've got all my little lines and all my petals, I'm going to start shading. And to shade, I do the same thing. I flick the fine liner and I create these little lines at the base of each of the petals. And there will be some that are longer and some that are shorter. But you're creating a little bit of shadow in each of these petals. So go around and do that to all your petals, and you can even curve the lines so that the petal looks more curved. I'm keeping this simple and I'm just making kind of straight lines. And you can see how by adding this shading, your flower starts to come to life. And I find that turning the paper is helpful so that I can make the lines go in the direction that the petal is growing. If I don't turn the paper, they get a little wonky on me. And you can even add a few lines that reach the tip of the petal. There's no right or wrong way to shade this once you have your flower drawn. And of course, you don't have to make your flower with the scalloped edges. You can round them. You can do anything. Once you have the basic technique down, you can do anything. Now you can see that on the flower on the left, I did add the center to the flower. I just used the broader tip marker and I created some dots, and then I connected them to the center of the flower. And you'll see me do that in just a moment. Now in these little crevices where I see two little petals meeting, I like to shade that a little bit darker just to make it look a little bit more realistic. So there's the center to the flower on the left. And again, all I did was take the marker with the broader tip and I just made some dots. And then use that same marker to connect those dots to the center. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. This is really simple. It's a fun way to create a beautiful flower. I hope that you do give it a try. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding anything you've seen me do here. I will always get back to you. Just leave your question in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Check the description box below the video for links to all the products used. And check out our Facebook group, Vivo Vintage Design Tutorials, where you can post your version of the techniques and paintings learned on this channel. Now here I am shading the stem of the flower. Because the flower would be casting a shadow on the top part of the stem, I am making sure that I darken that area most. And I want my shadow to be on the left-hand side. So I'm taking that marker and I'm drawing a bunch of sketchy little lines in a heavy consistency on the left-hand side, and then as I go towards the right side, I will make them just a little bit lighter, a little bit more far and few in between. And then you can refine your line or define your line simply by taking the marker with the broader tip and just going over that left side once more, and you can see it creates a nice little shadow. And there you have an easy flower that anybody can draw. And if you do this on watercolor paper, it would be really pretty to add just a burst of pink. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.